Hi, everybody. Doug and Aleya here with another session for you. And in this session, we thought it would be interesting to talk about how to be comfortable with discomfort, or how do you manage situations where you are uncomfortable or you're experiencing discomfort, and how can you be comfortable in the discomfort? And I'm going to start by just sharing a little bit of my background because learning how to be uncomfortable or learning how to be comfortable in discomfort has kind of been the story of my life. I was born with a lot of disabilities. I was almost blind. I was partially deaf. I was born crippled, two club feet, couldn't walk until I was 3 years old, and that was only after 3 or 4 surgeries. I was born left-handed in a time when left-handers were not well treated by coaches and things like that. I grew up with, even though the surgeries allowed me to walk and even run a little bit, I've had a lot of physical pain and I had a lot of emotional pain because in those days, this is back in the 50s, believe it or not, people did not, if you weren't normal, you were handicapped. And if you were handicapped, nobody had the patience to deal with you. So I had to deal with the physical pain of a left leg that didn't work too well and the emotional pain of nobody really understanding or accepting the fact that I was not normal, that I just couldn't do things that other kids could do. And of course, I overcompensated for it all. I was a pretty smart guy and became a nerd and buzzkill for the girls. And that was sort of the story of my life for many, many, many years. And in order to, there would be times when I would wake up and I would hop around on one leg because it was so painful for me to walk around on both legs. And that was for a long, long, long time. And there were times when I would just inside myself, I'd be all chewed up emotionally because, I was being rejected or I wasn't being validated or I was being teased or, I wasn't being supported in the way that I probably needed. And so it was a pretty painful upbringing. And even this day, my 93-year-old mother acknowledges that they did less than a stellar job with me, but they didn't know any better. And, they did the best they could under the circumstances. So that raised the question of how did I learn to be comfortable with my discomfort, which was kind of a 24/7 problem. Well, of course, in the beginning, when you're a child, you don't have any discipline and you don't have any tools. And in those days, nobody taught me tools on how to manage it. So you cry and you get a little short tempered and you get a little cranky. But as I grew up, I began to accept the fact that pain was sort of with me at all different levels. And where I really started to change was after I left the practice of law in 2000, after a 22-year stint as a trial lawyer. And I really started working on my internal self. And I started coming to the realization, and it really accelerated after I met Aleya, was that if I could find peace inside myself, if I could find acceptance inside myself, if I could find a place of calm and serenity inside myself, then the externalities, whether they be painful or not, just really didn't matter. And once I found that place of inner peace, which took work and it took some time, and I will tell you that anybody can do it, but it takes some effort. It just doesn't magically happen. But when I found that place of inner peace, then it became a lot easier for me to deal with the pain. I could just accept it for what it was. And that's not to say that I couldn't accept it earlier, but it just became possible to be totally in my own skin, be comfortable with whatever limitations I had. And actually, as I've gotten older, I've gotten physically a lot stronger and better than I was when I was much younger. And it becomes a daily practice of thinking about, where am I? Where's my center? How do I stay in that center? And is there anything else that's on the outside probably is just not that important. And I know that sounds ambiguous and kind of out there, but that's really what the process is. It's doing the inner work and accepting the discomfort for what it is as for me, a growth mechanism, and using it to propel myself to a place where I wanted to be, which is to have inner peace and tranquility and have a true authentic presence. And so it took me 50 plus years to get there, but I managed it. And I think that's really the lesson that I can share with you, is that use whatever discomfort you're experiencing as a way of going deep to find your inner peace, and then using that discomfort as a reminder that if you're living in the outside where the pain and the discomfort is intense, go to the inside, and it will never remove the pain or the discomfort or the hurt, but it will ease it up significantly. Aleya, what do you think?
I'm going to give the how on that.
Oh, thanks. I knew you would.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And in our life, we do have things in the outer world and our inner world that are uncomfortable. And there's two practices that you can actively engage in when you are experiencing something that is uncomfortable internally or externally, the way that people are in relationship with you, the way that they treat you, your outer accomplishments or lack thereof in the outer world. You might shame yourself. You might go into a place of self-critic, thinking that you're not as successful as you want to be, accomplished, smart, beautiful, whatever it might be, externally and or internally. So step one, awareness. And awareness is key, because if you don't have awareness, then you can't change the pattern. You can't bring in a different tool, a different way of being. And so then you just stay in the same thing over and over again. Now, the good thing is that painful moments, pain, suffering, discomfort, it's uncomfortable. It's like a slap. It wakes us up, which then enables us to go, oh, whoa, what? Wait, what? Step one, awareness. So we'll get the slap, we'll get the discomfort. And then step two, acknowledgement. So you've got the awareness and you're acknowledging, wow, something just happened that triggered me. I went into self-critic. I feel shamed by these people. I feel judged by these people. I don't feel enough, whatever the discomfort might be, the physical discomfort as well. And then step three, how is this somehow good? This is a tool. This is a weight. This is a mechanism that's trying to get me to shift. I'm trying to attain something inside myself that I want more of, but you're using an uncomfortable mechanism to do it. And that means it's very efficient and painful. And then the discomfort continues and sometimes even builds. So if it's physical pain, emotional pain, a trigger, a reaction to an outer relationship, this piece is essential. And you say to yourself, oh, this is really challenging. God, I feel like I have to be strong in this, or I have to be courageous, or I feel like I'm getting crumbled. And if I crumble, then what? Well, if I crumble and I fall apart, then I'm nothing. And if I'm nothing, then what? Then no one values me. Then I'm worthless. And if I'm worthless, then what? Then I have no self-love, no self-worth. And then you land at the bottom of the barrel. You got to get to the bottom of the barrel of what, and then what, and then what, and then what? What is the worst, 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 worst? This takes some courage and awareness. And then when you land at the bottom and you're like, oh, that's it. That's the worst. Then say to yourself, what's the solution? What's the opposite? What's the remedy? Self-hatred, self-loathing, no self-worth, self-love, self-worth. And a lot of the times our triggers and our challenges are there to just get us to drop in, to connect with our light, to value the qualities that flow within you. So when you get to your bottom of the barrel, then explore what's the opposite, what's the solution, what's the remedy. A lot of the times it's self-love, self-worth. It might be connection. It might be safety. It might be support. It might be self-respect, commitment to yourself. And then the next step is to pull yourself in and explore the idea that there is a vibration that flows within you that's really lovely. You do have a lovely inner world. You just haven't taken the time to connect with it yet. And so that pain moment, that discomfort, that uncomfortable experience in your outer life, your inner world, your physical body, it's there to push you into your inner world that is really lovely, to help you cultivate more awareness of this lovely inner world that you've got going on. Because if you don't recognize it, then you can't awaken to it, then you don't embody it. And imagine that part of you wants to embody this lovely inner vibration, essence, light, perfection that flows within you. So then you use the inhale to imagine a beautiful current, a vibration. Maybe you're kind. Maybe you're courageous. Maybe you're determined. Maybe you're strong. You endure so much pain and suffering. That cultivates strength. Connect with one quality that is within you, and then move into a place of deeply valuing it. Wow, this is really lovely. I got this. I got my butt whooped for so many moments to get this level of strength. Sink into it more. And then you're in the practice of self-love, self-worth. You're connecting with your essence. And then the more you do that, the stronger your inner world gets, the more lovely you get inside, because you're awakening to what's going on inside you that is harmonic, that is beautiful, that is connected. And then you slowly stop using the pain, the discomfort to awaken to the light within. So we want to be efficient with our tools instead of just rolling around in the pain, the suffering, the pain and the suffering, the pain and the suffering. No, do the pain and the suffering, and then deep breath in. I got something lovely going on inside. One quality. Oh, thank God. Or thank yourself. Thank the divine part of you. Connect with it more. Then let yourself integrate that for the rest of the day. And then do that practice in the morning before you even touch pain and suffering. The more you do it, the stronger you get within, and the more comfortable you get with every situation in your life. And all of the outer situations that used to create discomfort, they're no longer uncomfortable because you're so comfortable inside. Ow.
Oh, we're not quite done yet. I still
Okay.
got some stuff for me.
Go, run with it.
Yeah. So as I listen to you, Aleya, what that reflects for me is the fact that what really helps is to be emotionally aware of yourself, to have really good emotional self-awareness. Because, for example, if you're uncomfortable, are you able to articulate what that discomfort is? Is it a physical pain? Or is it something that's emotional, like anxiety, or fear, or frustration? Or is it a combination of physical pain that's triggering an emotional reaction to that physical pain that you're experiencing? So having a chronic ankle that doesn't bend very well, that stiffens, locks up, and can be very painful. There were times when I experienced a lot of frustration and anger, and and helplessness, because there's nothing that anybody could do to relieve the pain. And what helped me was as I became more and more emotionally self-aware, I started recognizing that the emotions didn't have to be related to the fact that I had disabilities. And once I started becoming aware and could segregate my discomforts from physical versus emotional, the emotions became very easy to manage, because I could just simply label my emotions, affect label them out, and de-escalate my brain, calm my brain down, find that place of inner peace. And then the physical pain was just physical pain that didn't have a huge emotional charge attached to it. And I think where we all get into trouble is if we have physical pain and we have emotional pain that's associated with it, and we're not able to separate it out, we start identifying with all that pain, and both emotional and physical, and that starts us on a spiral downward that's not healthy. And it's easy to fall into that if you don't have training and if you don't have experience. So that's why we spend so much time teaching people how to be emotionally competent and emotionally self-aware, because that's really the antidote for dealing with being comfortable with the discomfort and being emotionally self-aware. And then from there comes, you're able to regulate those emotions so that they don't destroy you.